What if the twin flame journey was never truly about finding another person? What if the person you call your twin flame entered your life to awaken a part of you that had been sleeping for years? And what if the separation, the triggering, the longing, and even the silence were not random experiences but invitations to return to yourself? Hello, my divine souls. Welcome to Spiritual Bloom, where we bloom within our consciousness, with your twin flame guide and mentor Neha. And today we are going back to the very beginning. Today we are talking about the foundations of the twin flame journey. Because before we talk about reunion or divine masculine and divine feminine or the runner chaser dynamic, we need to understand the foundation. Without understanding the foundation, it is very easy to become lost in signs, angel numbers, tarot readings, timelines, and constant questions about the other person. So today, let us understand what this journey is actually trying to teach you. We will be discussing different kinds of foundation that builds up a twin flame journey. So let's begin with foundation number 1. That is, your journey begins with soul recognition. For many people, meeting a twin flame feels different from an ordinary person, ordinary relationship. There may be an immediate sense of familiarity, a strange feeling of recognition. You may look at this person and feel as though you have known them before. Logically, you may barely know them, but emotionally and spiritually, something feels deeply familiar. This is what many people describe as soul recognition, because your soul recognizes the other person. The connection may activate emotions very quickly. You may feel drawn towards them without fully understanding why. Sometimes there is an intense attraction, deep emotional comfort. Sometimes there is fear. And sometimes all of these feelings exist together. But there is something important, that recognition is not the same as readiness. Two people may recognize a deep connection and still carry unhealed wounds. They may still have abandonment fears, rejection wounds, low self-worth and attachment patterns, or a nervous system that does not yet feel safe receiving this kind of deep love. That is why recognition alone does not automatically create harmonious union. Recognition simply opens the door to this journey. But the healing journey begins after that, and it makes you ready and receptive of the love, of the vibration and the frequency that you are capable of achieving. Now the second foundation is that your twin flame is a mirror. It is very important to understand the concept of mirroring in this journey. Your twin flame does not simply mirror your personality. They also mirror your unconscious wounds that you have hidden for years, fears that you have suppressed, beliefs that you have developed during childhood, the emotional patterns you thought you had already healed. For example, if you carry a deep abandonment wound, distance from your twin flame may activate intense fear. That's why you get nervous when your twin flame disconnects from you. If you carry rejection wounds, their silence may feel unbearable. That is the reason why during separation, that silence feels like your twin flame is slipping away from your life. And if you struggle with self-worth, you may constantly compare yourself to a third party. You may feel like you are not good enough. That's why they chose third party over you. If you learned that love must be earned, you may begin overgiving. That's why many divine feminines are extremely overgiving. Even divine masculines are. You may chase. You explain yourself repeatedly. You try to prove your love, sacrifice your boundaries, and slowly, without realizing it, the connection reveals the relationship you have with yourself. And this is why I often say that the twin flame mirror does not only show you how deeply you love another person, it shows you where you have stopped loving yourself and recognizing your self-worth. And at times, such realization can be extremely painful, but it can become the beginning of transformation. Now the third foundation is triggering is information. Many people believe that if a connection is spiritual, it should always feel peaceful, which is a misconception. But spiritual connections can sometimes activate very deep emotional material. A trigger is not automatically proof that someone is your twin flame, and pain should never be romanticized. But within any healing journey, triggers can provide information. They show us where emotional wounds still exist and which part of those wounds still needs healing. You need to ask yourself that why does their silence affect me so deeply? Why am I terrified of losing them? Why do I feel responsible for their healing? Why do I abandon my own needs when they return? And why does uncertainty feel so unsafe? These questions are important because underneath the twin flame story, there may be an inner child asking that, am I finally going to be chosen? There may be your nervous system asking that, is it safe for me to relax? Or it can be your wounded heart asking that, do I have to prove that I deserve love? So the trigger is often the surface. The wound is underneath. That's why, because you are wounded, you face such triggers. And healing begins when you stop fighting the trigger and start listening to what it is revealing. When you come into acceptance with such wounds and such triggers and start working on your triggers instead of complaining. The fourth foundation is that the divine feminine and divine masculines are inner energies. One of the biggest misunderstandings in this twin flame journey is believing that divine feminine always means woman and masculine means man. These energies are not simply about biological gender. They represent energetic principles that can exist within every person. The divine feminine energy is often connected with intuition, receiving, creation, emotional wisdom, compassion, and surrender. Whereas the divine masculine energy is often connected with action, direction, structure, discipline, protection, and grounded leadership. So the twin flame journey often reveals the imbalance between these energies. Perhaps your inner feminine is overgiving, constantly waiting, constantly intuiting, but your inner masculine is weak, You struggle to create boundaries, you struggle to take action for yourself, and struggle to protect your energies. Or perhaps your masculine energy is overdeveloped. Overdeveloped in the sense you constantly control, plan, analyze, struggle to receive, struggle to trust, struggle to feel your emotions. Now, inner union begins when these energies learn to work together. Your intuition speaks and your inner masculine takes aligned action. Your heart opens and your boundaries protects that heart. You surrender what you cannot control and take responsibility for what you can change. And this is what energetic balance is all about. The fifth foundation is separation is often a catalyst. Separation is one of the most painful experiences in this journey, as we all know. The silence, the confusion, the unanswered questions, sudden distance feels like there's no closure. For many people, separation feels like rejection. But separation can become a catalyst for self-discovery. Because when the person is no longer physically available, you are left with yourself. And when you are left with yourself, it gives you an opportunity to look into yourself, look into the darker sides of your life, of your soul, and to work on those parts which needs healing. And when you are left alone with yourself in isolation, this is often where the deeper work begins. You start questioning everything around you and start working on them. Separation can become the place where you begin rebuilding your relationship with yourself. But I want to say something very clearly. Separation should never be used as an excuse to tolerate abuse, manipulation, disrespect, or harmful behavior. This is where you should know how to draw the line and protect yourself by creating healthy boundaries. Spirituality should not remove discernment. You should be aware and smart enough to understand if you are being manipulated, abused, or disrespected, and that is the time when you need to take yourself out of that entire dynamic. Love and boundaries can exist together. Compassion and self-respect can exist together. Understanding someone's wounds does not mean accepting their harmful behavior. This is an important foundation of mature spiritual growth. Now, the sixth foundation is that inner work is the heart of this journey. You will hear the phrase inner work many times in Twinflame community. But inner work, what does it mean? Inner work is not simply watching tarot readings. It is not constantly checking your twin flame's energy. It is not decoding every song, number, dream, or social media post. Inner work is the courageous process of meeting yourself, meeting the distorted version of yourself, because it involves healing childhood wounds, understanding your attachment patterns, learning emotional regulation, working with your nervous system, developing boundaries, healing people pleasing, processing your grief, releasing any kind of shame, building self-worth, and learning how to communicate, and sometimes seeking professional mental health support when needed. Inner work asks you to become curious about your patterns, not judgmental, but curious, because when you are curious, you start working on yourself. And when you are curious, you start questioning yourself, and these questions can transform your life, because the goal is not to become perfect in this journey. The goal is to become aware and conscious about yourself. The seventh foundation is that the nervous system plays a powerful role. This is a topic that I deeply believe deserves more discussion in this journey, and I have also made 2 episodes on healing your nervous system. You can go and watch it, because your spiritual journey is experienced through a human body, and your human body has a nervous system. Sometimes what we call intense spiritual longing may also involve nervous system activation. Your body may enter fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses. You may obsessively check your phone, replay conversations, struggle to sleep, constantly seek reassurance, feel panic when communication stops. This does not make your connection meaningless, but it does mean your body may need safety. Because healing is not only about understanding spiritual concepts. Sometimes healing looks like breathing deeply, sleeping properly, walking, resting, reducing overstimulation, journaling, feeling your emotions without immediately reacting, learning how to sit with yourself in uncertainty. Your soul may be awakening in this journey, but your nervous system also deserves compassion. A regulated body creates space for clear intuition and space for healing. Because when the nervous system is constantly in survival mode, fear can sometimes sound like intuition. That's why it's very important to heal nervous system in this journey, and learning the difference is a part of spiritual maturity. The 8th foundation is that surrender is not waiting. Many twin flames misunderstand the concept of surrender. They believe surrender means I will wait patiently until my twin flame returns. But that can still be an attachment. True surrender is not passive waiting. Surrender means releasing your attempt to control the outcome. You stop trying to force communication, manipulate energy, predict every timeline. You stop putting your entire life on hold. Instead, you return to your own path. You build your career, care for your body, nurture your creativity, strengthen your friendship, and explore your purpose. You deepen your spiritual connection, and gradually your life becomes full again. This is not giving up on love or on your twin, but it is about releasing control. So there is a difference. When you surrender, it means you are no longer controlling the situation. The 9th foundation is that your purpose is bigger than this connection. Many people enter this journey asking, when will we reunite? But eventually when they ascend, the question may change. The question changes from when will we reunite to who am I becoming? And slowly, when you ascend more, you start questioning yourself that what am I here to create? What is my purpose? So the awakening process may activate creativity, leadership, healing abilities. That is why many people describe the twin flame journey as a catalyst for purpose. The connection shakes your old identity, where you shed your old skin, old personality, the old you, and you become a different personality, a different person entirely. And in the empty space, something authentic begins to merge. Perhaps you were never meant to spend your entire life waiting for another person. Perhaps you were meant to become the person your soul was always calling you to be. Because remember, the soul knows everything. The last foundation is that union begins within. This may be the most important foundation of all, because union is not simply two people standing together in a relationship. Because two physically united people can still be emotionally disconnected. Inner union is the process of becoming more integrated within yourself. Your heart and mind begins working together. Your feminine and masculine energies become balanced. Your spiritual awareness becomes grounded in daily life, and your boundaries become stronger. You stop abandoning yourself to keep someone else, and you learn to love without losing your identity. And slowly, you begin returning home to yourself. That is why this journey can become so transformative. The person, your twin, may have awakened you. The connection may have triggered you. The separation may have broken your old identity, but ultimately, you are the one who must choose healing. No twin flame can do your inner work for you. No tarot reading can regulate your nervous system for you. And no angel number can create your boundaries. No reunion can replace the relationship you need to build within yourself. Now, if you are at the beginning of this journey, remember that do not rush to understand everything. Do not become obsessed with labels. Do not compare your journey with someone else's timeline. And do not measure your spiritual growth by whether another person contacts you. You need to come back to yourself, observe your patterns, listen to your body, intuition, heal your wounds, strengthen your boundaries, and build your purpose. Learn to receive love without abandoning yourself, because perhaps the deepest foundation of this twin flame journey is the journey may begin with recognizing another soul, but transformation begins when you finally recognize yourself. And maybe the person you have been searching for through this entire journey is the version of you that was waiting to come home. So if you like this episode and if this message has resonated with you, do like, share, subscribe and comment. For any kind of personal guidance, you can WhatsApp or email me. My contact details have been given in the description box and mentioned in the video. I thank you all for supporting me and motivating me always. Keep on supporting me. I'm really grateful to you all. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again in another episode.